Hey guys, it's Spencer Boats, owner of Hard Work Industries and partner with Edison Motors. And today we're going to talk about the test track project. So hanging out with the Edison boys throughout all of 2025, I've seen the amount of effort that they put into video production and sharing what they do with all of you. And as we got talking and more questions came up about the test track, we got in the conversation of making a video about how Hard Work Industries got involved with Edison and the test track project from start to finish. So this is my attempt at sharing what we do with the Edison audience. Quick disclaimer, I'm a tradesman and grew up on a farm, so YouTube isn't really my thing. This is actually take two. The first take, we put a lot of effort into it, but it was so boring that we thought we'd try again. And so today I'm working again with Broadleaf Media, and we're gonna go more into depth on the introduction of who we are, how we got involved with Edison. Then we'll move into the equipment side of things and the test track. So if you're more interested in the equipment and the test track operations, the Edison project, then that'll be farther along in the video. So I grew up in rural Saskatchewan on a cattle farm that also does grain. When I graduated from high school, I wanted to get into the trades, so I chose instrumentation, automation, which deals with electrical controls, specifically in mine sites, oil fields, and heavy industry. At the young age of 18, I started apprenticing at a potash mine in southern Saskatchewan, doing that instrumentation automation trade, doing things in the field, as well as a little bit of programming and design, and working with the day-to-day operations. As I was doing this, I started buying a couple semis and I incorporated my company, Hard Work and Haul. We ran semis on the side, and I also had a full-time job working week on, week off at the potash mine. This gave me a good stable base to grow off of. Then when COVID came along, I decided to transition out of my job and full-time to my company, and we continued to grow. So we had, at that point, we would have had 3 semis on the road, and we did a little bit of subcontracting for construction projects. 2022, we were a full-time company, and 2023, we started doing subcontracting for construction, and at the same time, I was following along with Edison Motors project out in British Columbia. Right away when I seen Edison Motors, I thought that their idea to bring the electric drive hybrid system into the trucking market was phenomenal. I thought it would work really good for what we do. I seen that there was big manufacturers like CAT doing this already for equipment, especially on their large haul trucks and whatnot. And so I thought that these guys were geared up for success. So I watched closely with them. I started getting in touch with them around that 2022, and we followed them along as our company was growing, their company was also growing. In 2024, Edison Motors kept progressing to the point where they had built Topsy, they had tested Topsy, and they announced that they were going to the Lesco Truck Show in Edmonton, Alberta, which is only 6 hours away from us. So I drove up that morning to Lesco Truck Show, and I met with the crew in person, got to know them, and got to look over Topsy. I was impressed with their crew, but I also connected with them because we were both young entrepreneurs in Western Canada. We had similar challenges and we had a similar growth path. We clicked pretty good at the start, and we exchanged information, and I made myself available to them if they needed help in the future. Soon after that, they had secured the Donald property out in BC. The Donald property is over 300 acres near Golden, BC. And the property has a lot of potential. Like, it has a gravel pit, it's got a rail yard, but it also has a lot of history. So to bring the Edison Motors team to Donald, there was gonna be a lot of work to be done. They needed a 15 cabin development to put their employees in. They needed a 100 by 300 initial production facility. And I came to know that they needed a test track to legalize their semis for sale. And the test track was a 2-kilometer high-speed loop and a 1-kilometer straight stretch. As the Donald property started to go into the planning stages, and I connected again with Chase, and we thought this is a good opportunity for us to come out there and actually work with them in real life. So we started talking about what was all needed, and wow, there was just so much work to be done out in that property. I decided that me and Chase could meet on site and go over what it looks like, how the land lays, and all the projects that need to be done. So I flew to Kamloops, jumped in a pickup with Chase. We drove out to Donald, and we jumped on an old Ski-Doo 550 2-up snowmobile. It was Chase's first time driving a snowmobile, and I was backpacking behind him. So we drove around the Donald property, and through the snow, we kind of got to know the land better. We got to talk about the test track, and I realized how big of a project this was. You know, 3-kilometer road, and the land it's in BC, so there's a lot of elevation changes and there's a lot of history there. It was a massive project, and I went to Chase and I said, well, we'd love to do this job, but we're a pretty small company. Like, if you have bigger companies who can work with you guys, then I think you should probably do that. But Chase talked to the Edison guys, and they decided that they would give us a shot and see what we could do. So it was exciting, but it was pretty nerve-wracking off the start too, because it was going from, we had done jobs 10% this size on our own as a contractor, and we had subcontracted for jobs that are quite large. But it's a different ball game when you're contracting and you're, you know, talking to engineering, planning, you're on your day-to-day basis, whereas subcontracting, you're told on a day-to-day where to go and what to do. So once again, I said, we can probably do this, but this is pretty far beyond our scope. But they were good with it. So I sat down and I thought, how can we accomplish this? We're a small crew and this is a big job. So, you know, we started sitting down planning, and I thought, what tools can I put in my toolbox to allow us to be successful? The first thing we needed was bigger equipment. We had a full lineup of equipment, but it was around 20-ton size, whereas we needed equipment more like the 35 or 40-ton size. So we used this as an excuse to go to Ritchie Brothers, and we bought a large excavator. The pride of the fleet would be the 21-336 excavator with GPS. And then we bought a D6 XE. We bought the XE because it has the same design philosophy as Edison's electric drive. We bought the biggest rock truck that Cat makes, articulated truck, as well as we had our big loader, we had our big packer. And we also bought, probably our biggest game changer was the GPS setup, the Trimble GPS system. We brand around Cat. We love operating Cat. Our guys love the Caterpillar equipment, and we plan to keep working with Cat as we grow. Going into this job, as soon as I met Chase, got to know the crew, it was evident that they were super efficient and careful with their spending and their investors' money. Like, I remember when we first went to the Donald property, we started living on site, we would indulge ourselves with hot dogs. Like, there was no steak supper every second day or anything. It was literally hot dogs on an open fire, and that was that. Like, the one time the engineers went out and bought food and they brought back fancy hot dog buns, and there was a bit of an argument about that, about spending money. So it was obvious that we had to do absolutely everything we could do to drive costs down. This is where GPS was such an important tool in surveying. Earlier I mentioned that as a contractor, you're dealing with the engineers, the design team, the surveyors. Well, on this job, there was none of that. There was no pre-engineered plan, there was no survey team. It was me and Chase drawing on Google Maps and telling each other where things should go and tweaking it that way, and then deciding on road profile, how wide it was. When you're talking about a road that's 3 kilometers in length, if you're building your road at a 1.2% grade compared to 1.15% grade, you end up with a large volume difference because you're going over such a large distance that slight tweak in design means a lot of material on your far side. So we need a way to measure this. The first thing you do on a job like this is you get a surveyor with a drone to come out and fly the property. So that drone, really cool technology, it's automated. It flies a grid pattern over your property, and it uses lidar or photogeometry to measure the heights of everything and the distances of everything. So it gives you this gigantic file of your property and how it actually lays. Is it 2% up or 1.8? You know, is this hill a mile long or 0.7 miles long? So you start with the information of what you have on hand. Why this is a big deal is because when I take our road design as well as our side profile and I give it to a drafter, they can overlay that road design on top of what the ground does already, and they can see how much volumetric change has to be done to reach that result. I spent the first 3 weeks driving around with a GPS testing tool called a rover, and I went and measured where we thought that the road would start and where our curves would be, because tweaking our circle 10 meters over or a little bit of a degree change turned out to be huge amounts of volume, huge amounts of work, therefore way more money. Our biggest advantage was utilizing that technology to knock down the actual amount of work to be done to reach the required result. Our first estimation when we overlaid our road design onto that virgin ground was 160,000 cubic meters, which is a lot. Now, I tweaked the circle location, very small amounts, couple meters here, there, a little bit of angle changes, and we got that design down to 60,000 cubic meters. So right there, on a big project like this, you can cut your costs in half pretty quick. That also gives you an idea of the actual manpower and equipment you will need on the job. If you know you need to move 60,000 cubes, you're gonna wanna average, say, 1,000 cubic meters a day like we did, then you need the large excavator, you need the large truck, you just need certain tools to do this. So that was about the end of May. We had a design, we had this GPS file, and our equipment, like I mentioned before, had GPS on board. As of the last couple of years, GPS into equipment has become such a powerful tool where I can take this road design, I can put it into that dozer and that excavator, and my operators know exactly what they're doing at all times. They know the road boundary, they know how deep to dig, how large to build it up. So the efficiency factor there is crazy, and that was key to us because we're a small company, we're a small group of guys. At this point, we're getting into June. The ground's thawed out, we have our plan, we got our CAT equipment on site, we got our GPS calibrated in, and our information in our equipment. We bring our man camp, so we set up ATCO shacks, generators, tools, fuel, all the support items. That helps our guys stay happy and healthy throughout the job, less fatigue, make less mistakes on site. There's a lot of day-to-day knowledge that goes to doing this efficiently, but also doing it without wrecking your equipment. Out in BC, the rocks make things very interesting. You know, we're just a couple Saskatchewan boys, so we're used to dealing with dirt and manure and clay, but the rocks was, oh man, the rocks was a huge pain in the ass because it's so hard on equipment, it's so hard on operators. You got a 300 horsepower excavator is a lot easier to rip the pins out of it than a mini hoe. Or that big 745 haul truck, it's a lot easier to chew up those tires at 45 ton in the box compared to 30 ton. You gotta work around it. So we ended up ripping a lot of the material before pulling it out with the excavator, ripping it with ripper shanks, as well as the dozer was operating on a level surface because those haul truck tires, you know, to replace those are 60 to 80,000 Canadian dollars. The undercarriage on a dozer is $40,000 to $50,000. So small changes in how you route that truck or how you lay it in with the dozer really affect how much wear you put on, how much cost you have, which means how much cost goes into the project.
And just patience. You know, we can't beat up the machines, take your time, dig smart, don't get rammy. Switching buckets, as I don't like to do. Use a dig bucket, don't rip the cutting edge off your cleanup.
You can see here, like most places, you have a layer of blacktop, a little bit of subsoil, and then you have your rock and clay fill below. It'll come to life really quick if we reuse this material and it's gonna look good, but it's not gonna last. As we progressed along the road design, we sorted off this low quality material and took it to dumping pits that were nearby. Dealing with such large amounts of material, we had to plan how we can get rid of this garbage without getting in the way later on. When we're in the dozer, if we can use that automatic blade control to build a perfectly smooth road and keep those loose rocks from coming up and underneath our tracks, we don't have to be rattling over rocks all day. When you rattle over rocks with tracks, you're not hitting them just once like with the tire, you're hitting them 12 times as they roll underneath your undercarriage. If we can keep all those rocks away from our undercarriage, we can extend the life of this machine by 2 or 3 times. But if we're not being careful and we're being rammy, we're gonna rattle this machine apart and our operators are gonna hate their lives. Going back to technology, and I like nailing on the technology subject because it's really the tool that can allow a company like ours to do something like this efficiently. And like I outlined, it can literally cut your costs in half. So when we have this road design overlaid on the lidar map, this is now called a cut fill plan. So the cut fill plan tells you where to cut material and where to place it as fill. In the perfect world, you would have a net zero cut fill plan, meaning you might cut 1,000 cubes from the north side and place it on the south side and end up with a flat pad. Keeping in mind, that doesn't factor in what's actually beneath the ground. That's assuming everything below our cut fill plan is usable. In our case, we went through an old landfill, we went through a bunch of sawdust, we went through areas where they dumped overburden. So our actual cubic meters on the job ended up being 100,000 cubes. On a day-to-day basis, it'll go something like this. The excavator will be on his cut fill map, you'll see it on his screen, he'll be on a high point, he'll put his bucket on the ground and it'll show he's 3.2 feet up or a meter too high of the road design. He's gonna position himself in a way that he can scoop that 1 meter out, put it into his haul truck, and his haul truck's gonna head for the dozer. The dozer will be sitting on a spot where we need more material to level out that road. We're gonna continue following this cut fill map, dealing with the surprises we get along the way. You know, if we run into more overburden or bad material, sorting off big rocks. On the day-to-day, we're taking material from excess, we're putting it into a place with not enough fill, we're making a level road at the end of the day. Some of the things that we do to drive our costs down even more, and as an owner, to be honest, the less people I have operating around me, the better. I want a core group of guys with good tools to consistently and productively move material. A couple of tricks for this, well, that GPS is huge because we don't need somebody surveying every day, walking around with a survey stick, telling us to go up and down. Can't stress enough that GPS is crucial. The other thing we did was when I was looking for a haul truck, I specifically wanted the biggest one CAT makes because typically you're seeing a 30-ton rock truck, articulated trucks in Western Canada. We wanted a 45-ton truck because it's one less rock truck operator, but also that truck is so heavy and there's so much ground pressure that we routed our truck so that it's loaded driving over top of the freshly built road. So as that rock truck was hauling me material, he was also packing the road we had built and reaching full compaction. That 745 truck was able to do the work of 2 30-ton trucks and a packer. So on a day-to-day, it's much simpler for me and safer, and it's way less cost. You gotta be planned a week ahead so you can keep that rock truck routed on your fresh built road and packing. You gotta keep your excavator in a productive spot where you can reach and load that truck, and you gotta have your dozer building a high enough lift you can deal with the big rocks, but also not building a 4-meter lift that can't be compacted. There's a balance, right? Like you might be able to hit 1,400 cubes a day, but at the expense of your equipment. Not only is it expensive to repair, but also if your excavator is broken down, now your dozer doesn't have material coming and your rock truck doesn't have a place to load. So there's a balance of working your equipment within its capabilities, but also pushing it to its acceptable limits. In the end, it worked out really good. I think we pushed our equipment the right amount. There's still gonna be repairs. You're still gonna wear out pins and undercarriages and tires. They're still gonna have wear points, but we didn't have day after day of being broken down and our guys looking for things to do. Every day we were moving that 1,000 cubes. Looking back too, there's some things that went really well and there's some things that could have went better. For example, when we first bought that haul truck, like I said, I'm CAT all the way. Well, they're known for bad transmissions, and sure enough, we got it to the job site and the transmission was no good. So there goes 100 grand putting a transmission in a rock truck. Also looking back, there's a couple corners I would have changed. I would have went a little bit wider, a little more bank angle. It's pretty cool that we were able to take fully loaded trucks on our own property, as well as doing skid tests, brake tests, and torture tests, trying to find faults. There's a couple things that we look forward to doing in the spring. We want to put some crushed rock down to reduce the amount of tire scrubbing that we have steering, and as well as increasing that bank angle a little bit to keep the truck more grounded when you're doing high speeds. Utilizing that technology and equipment size was really key for us, and we learned so much about it throughout the job. Having that full job responsibility start to finish gave me a different perspective on earthworks, all the way from design, engineering, technology, surveying, into large-scale job execution and leadership. But in reality, it's the guys with boots on the ground doing the work. The guys I got working with me, they put in all the long days, they're skilled operators, and they showed up. They helped with the design, and on the day-to-day, we got it done.
It's also really great to be out here helping the Edison guys. We're all very committed to this cause. We believe in it and feel like it's going to change Canadian trucking history. So we're very committed, put in a lot of effort. We try hard to get things done safely, smoothly, efficiently, and here we are.
I hope we were able to highlight how modern construction jobs come to life, some of the struggles we face, and the technology we use to make things efficient. More than just scooping and dumping dirt, there's a lot that a good construction crew can do to drive your costs down and get things done. I had a lot of fun making this video, and being around Edison Motors, I was able to see how important that sharing what they do with the rest of the world is. I hope we were able to highlight some of the things in the construction industry that the average person doesn't see or know. And we loved being part of the Edison Motors project. Look forward to continuing work with them. Some people might not realize is as a construction contractor, you work yourself out of a job. So you get the skills, you get the equipment, bring all your guys, finish a job, and that's it. Now it's time for us to look for the next big job to get involved with, bringing that technology, planning, and job execution to somebody else's job site. If there's a project out there or industry you think we should pursue, you can see my contact information below. Also, don't hesitate to reach out if you guys have any questions about the test track or the Edison Motors project. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. This video thing was kind of awkward for me, so hopefully it turned out okay. Thanks to Broadleaf Media for coming on site with us throughout the summer and filming the operations, as well as filming this video. If you guys want to check out Broadleaf Media and learn more about him, his information will be in the description. I'll also put my website and Edison Motors in the description as well. If you guys want to see more videos on actual construction operating, tips and tricks, maybe cost analysis or GPS, let me know and maybe we'll make some more videos.